Hi guys. Wow, okay, yeah, it's been a minute since I've been on here. Not too long. Maybe like a month and a half. I've had a lot of really exciting things going on. I have had to take a short break from YouTube. Honestly, my reading has slowed down quite a bit as well. I just decided I didn't want to burn myself out, so I took a little break. Not totally from reading, like I've been reading, just not as much as I normally do. I just could not churn out weekly videos for a second there. I got engaged, which is very exciting. That really didn't get in the way of me making videos, but just a fun update. I'm gonna give a little update and then I'll get into my I don't know how to like do a video in order, I kind of forget, but this is going to be a wrap up of all the books that I read this summer since I didn't do a wrap up for June, July, or August. I'm just gonna put them all in one. But first I just want to give a little update on like what I've been doing. So my reading slump kind of started when my now fiance and I, Jean-Luc, went to the Pacific Northwest. We went to Seattle, we went to Anacortes and Victoria. That's where we got engaged. So I kind of, we were there for about 10 days and I just wanted to be present. I wanted to be in nature. I wanted to be spending time with Jean-Luc, and reading just wasn't like a super big priority on that trip. The book I was reading was also not that interesting to me. That also didn't help. On that trip, we booked kind of our first retainer client for this editing job, which is like a dream job. So exciting. Has taken up parts of our week, so I am now editing stuff, so that also kind of bled into my YouTube making time. The big thing that took up most of my energy was this movie that we just recently wrapped called Microfocusing. It is a short narrative film about caregiver burnout, loosely based on my own life. I wrote it with Jean-Luc, and our cinematographer Tom came in and wrote a little bit at the end as well. I was in it, and I produced it, so it was a pretty big undertaking. In addition to just kind of being caught up in doing stuff for the film, I also find that when I'm acting, I don't read as much because I'm studying my script and studying the character. So we've wrapped the movie and it went really well. I'm very excited to share it with everybody. We are in post-production. We are still raising money. So if you even have just like $5 you want to give me some love, I'll leave the donation link down below. We're fiscally sponsored, so all donations are tax deductible. And also, if you want to watch my film Intermedium, I didn't produce that or write it, but I am the lead in it. You can watch that for free on Tubi. It's also on Amazon Prime and a few other places. I'll leave that link down below as well. But I'm back now. It's really so lovely coming back to YouTube because after producing a film, like you work with so many people and you rely on so many people, and it's a very complex thing to do. And so it's really amazing to just come back to this and it's just me and books and you guys and filming it and editing it, and it's a very, very nice thing to come back to. So I'm very grateful that I am able to do this. I think what I really did is this past month and a half, I've listened to myself, and it's like as much as I've wanted to just read so much and force myself to make these videos, like I know it would have cost me to burn out, and so I'm happy that I listened to my body. But I will say, like, getting back into reading after not regularly reading for like a month and a half, my mental health is so much better. It also could be because like the movie's over and that was stressing me out a lot. But I am still like pretty much on track for my reading goals. Opening Goodreads right now. My yearly goal is to read 100 books, and I've read 65 and I'm only 2 books behind. I was really ahead before my reading slump, so that was helpful. That's that. Let's get into the wrap up. So the first book I have on this list, I think it was my last book I read in May, but it didn't make it on the May video because I think I filmed the May video on like the second to last day of May. It's this book, Wild Love by Elsie Silver. It was the first book I read by Elsie Silver, and everyone really loves her. So many people have said that like this book is the best book yet that she's written. I think she's had 2 other series that she wrote before this, and then this is the first book, I believe, of her 3rd series. All the series are connected, but I've been told that I could just start with the 3rd series. The series can also like stand on their own. Knowing that this was the best one, I thought I would just start with this to give Elsie Silver a try. Okay, what is this book about? Let me remember. Yeah, it's about this like billionaire guy and this woman. I think they knew each other in high school and they like hated each other in high school. It's like, I don't know, maybe 10 years later, and the woman, Rosie, comes back from living in the city and thinks she's in a relationship that she's not crazy about. And they reconnect. She starts working for this billionaire, but I think he wasn't a billionaire when they knew each other. Like back in the day, I think he's like a self-made billionaire. And like they fall in love, obviously. Everyone loves Ford Grant. The girlies love Ford Grant. I liked this book. I didn't like love it. Like I didn't fall in love with this fictional character. I was happy when it was over. I was like ready to move on to the next thing. But I gave it a 3.75. It was good. I wasn't like flipping through the pages of it. It's really like pretty. The cover's very pretty. But I'm not like running to read her other books after reading this. Sorry. Okay, the next one is The Wicked King, which is the second book of I think it's called the Folk of Air trilogy. I call it the Cruel Prince trilogy. I just did not care. I think this trilogy is YA, and that could be why I didn't care that much. It just felt a little like my brain wanted to be doing so much more work than it was allowed to do reading this. I want to finish it. Like, I want to read The Queen of Nothing. I can't really talk about what it's about because it's the second book of a series and I don't want to give anything away. I do want to read The Queen of Nothing because it's the third book and it's like has queen in the title, and it's really hard for me to like not read a book about a queen. This one did not do it. It has, an average 4.29 rating on Goodreads, but I'm sorry, the series is just not doing it for me. I give it a 2-star. Next, a book I actually loved, Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I love this author so much. I read Good Material by her earlier this year. Also loved it. I love her humor. I love her take on life. I feel like I reviewed this already. Oh no, I did a reading vlog with it. And with Wicked King. So if you want my deeper thoughts, you can also go to that reading vlog. But she just has such a sense of humor, and I love like her take on the world and how she talks about seemingly mundane things. She just has so much insight and so much humor. I felt pretty good after I read it. Like, I felt pretty inspired to be alive. Yeah, I gave it a 5-star. I think it would be a great fall book as well. It's like a little nostalgic, a little like in your feels. Probably a good fall book. Yeah. Next, I read the ROM Commerce. This one I listened to via Book of the Month audio. I love Catherine Center. This is the third book of hers I read, and I always enjoy her books. This is about this young woman, Emma, who has a dream of being a screenwriter. I think her friend is like one of the most famous screenwriters, like agents or something. She gets this chance to like write a screenplay with her idol, this guy Charlie. She goes to LA for 6 weeks to do this, and it's like kind of a don't meet your hero situation. And definitely don't work with your hero situation. She doesn't want to write with her. She has some stuff going on at home that's been challenging. I think she's her father's like primary caretaker, and she finally gets away to do this, and her sister watches her dad for these 6 weeks. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. I give it a 4-star. Okay, next I read All Fours by Miranda July, and I can't say I remember a ton about this book. I'm gonna be really honest. I gave it a 2-star. It wasn't something that I clicked with a lot. Like, there were a few quotes that I appreciated, but in terms of like the story and like what was happening, I just did not connect to it. I'm not sure it was written for me though. A lot of people really like this book. It didn't do it for me. It's like this woman, I think she tells her husband, and she has a child too, that like she's gonna go on this road trip, and then she ends up like staying in this hotel in their town for like a few days and like has an affair and stuff like that. I would love to like make this a movie and like develop it into a screenplay, but I don't know, it didn't do it for me. And again, I'm not sure if I'm the target audience for it, so I wouldn't like say I don't recommend it. I didn't connect with it as much as I wanted to. The next book, I read The Courage to be Disliked, How to Free Yourself, Change Your Life, and Achieve Real Happiness. This was great. I really enjoyed listening to this book. I gave it a 4-star. And it's just kind of about accepting the fact that like you can do anything. People will always pass judgment and like find a reason to not like you. So that's always going to be a thing. So as long as like you're living honestly and like kindly, it's kind of like about letting go of all of the rest. It's about a lot of other things too. Kind of want to like reread it again because it's one of those like dense self-help books. Next I read Dopamine Nation. This is the book that kind of put me in my slump a little bit. I did give it 4 stars. I think it's a good book. It's more about like actual addiction than I thought. I thought it was going to be a little bit more about addictions that aren't as like blatantly obviously addictions, like a little less about drug addictions and a little bit more about how what happens to your brain when it's addicted to a drug is similar to what happens to your brain like when you're on a phone. And it does talk about that a little bit, but it also just talks about like regular addiction, which is totally like a valid thing to write a book about. But it was super interesting. It was a well-researched, written book. It just wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be about. I didn't enjoy this book, but it was a good book. Next, Jean-Luc and I auditioned for this play, Venus and Fur, together because we have the same agent, and they got us to join audition. We did not book it, but we did audition for it. I reread the play. I had read it in college. It's a short play. It's a little like first wave for me. It's about gender roles and power dynamics and stuff like that, and it you know, it's done in a creative way, but like what it's saying is a little like, don't we know this already? I would probably give this like 3 stars. It is clearly, with all good intentions, like written by a man that's like trying to say something about the power dynamics between men and women, and it's a little like, let's dig a little deeper. That's my personal take on it. Give it a try if you want. Next, I read Honey by Isabel Bonta. I give this 2 stars as well. I enjoyed the writing style, and like for, I would say the first like 75% of the book, I was like, cool. And then I was like, not sure where this is going, like what happened with the characters and the arc of the characters. I thought it could have been so much more with how it was set up, and it's about this girl that like basically like becomes a pop star, and like it goes from before she was famous to like when she is famous, and her relationships with like other famous singers and stuff like this. And it's like, if you're gonna write a book like that, let's like say something new, or like say something, or like have an interesting arc. It ended and I was like, oh. Next, I read The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston. I loved The 7-Year Itch by her. I gave that 5 stars. This one I gave 3 stars. I did predict most of what happened. I do enjoy when I can predict things. And I liked this book. I did like it, and I would recommend it. It kind of dragged a little bit. Like there were parts of it where I was like, okay, like I know what the point is. Like let's get to the point. It was a really creative idea for a book. It's about this, I don't want to give a spoiler, but I think, yeah, it says it on the back cover. So she is living in the city. Her family owns this like funeral parlor in some small town somewhere, and her dad dies, and she has to go home for the first time in like 10 years and bury her dad and like do that funeral. And she's a medium, so she discovers this ghost and they fall in love. There are elements of this book that are similar to this movie I was in called Intermedium, which I mentioned at the beginning of this video, which is a big reason why I read it. It's very different from the movie as well. It has some of the same elements, so it was fun to read this. I would definitely watch Intermedium first and then read this book. Next, I read The Perfect Couple by, is it Ellen Hildebrand or Eileen? I still don't know. I read a few books by her now, and I read this because of the movie coming out. The trailer looked amazing. It's kind of like a classic murder mystery. Lots of characters, lots of suspects, lots of family dynamics. It's about this wedding of this young woman who comes from a very like working class family. She's getting married to this very, very wealthy, old money young man. And there's a murder. I'm really excited to watch the movie. I think it's gonna be really good. I gave the book a 3-star. I wasn't like super connected to any of the characters, but I was hooked. Like I wanted to know what had happened, and like I didn't predict it, and I predict a lot. So that's always exciting for me when I can't figure it out. Then I read Reckless, which is a sequel to Powerless. I did not like this book. I can't say much about it. I liked Powerless a lot, and I liked Powerful a lot, the novella. This book, the given circumstances of this book and like the relationship between these 2 characters, how do you still love each other? Like I would look at this person and just feel like, I want to kill you. And I guess that's like why it's complicated. It wasn't a full buy for me. Like I wasn't really like buying the characters' feelings based on what had happened in their past. It felt a little bit like Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1, the movie, where it's like we're just spending the whole time getting somewhere and then it's like over. There wasn't a ton that happened, at least in my opinion. I need a little bit more. I will read the next book when it comes out, but this one was just like, I could have done without it. And I really liked the first one. Next I read Sex and Rage by Eve Babbitt, who I love. I'm trying to remember what happened. Yes. So this is about this young woman living in Los Angeles in, I believe, the 70s. She's like wandering around her mental landscape as this kind of like it girl of LA, kind of like not. She wants to be a writer and she goes to New York to pursue that, I guess. It's character driven, it's not plot driven. I loved it. I love Eve Babbitt. I love her commentary on place. As someone, I live in New York, I've been to LA. Her commentary on these 2 places and the types of people in them, I just appreciated. I gave it 3 stars. It was good. I enjoyed it. These are like pretty tiring, honestly, to do. My like YouTube video stamina is like not up. The last book I'm going to talk about is Sorcerer Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher. This has an overall rating of 4.26 on Goodreads. I gave it a 2. it just didn't pique my interest. I didn't connect to the characters. And I do feel like that is a common theme of these books in the summer, because I do think that like my brain was a little bit elsewhere. It's about this girl who has this mother who is an evil witch. She marries this guy for the money. Basically, the girl and like this guy's sister kind of team up to like get rid of her mom and like make her mom stop doing evil things, I guess. I appreciated this book. I thought it was really well written. I just didn't connect to it. And as I say, I do think that was a little bit of a theme these past few months, because my mind was just so preoccupied with like making this movie. I think I just had a little trouble connecting to the books I was reading. I'm feeling myself come out of that, which I'm very happy about. Those are the books I read this summer. I don't know how many books is that? It's like, I think for the average person, it's a decent amount. 14 books in 3 months. That's not a lot for me. That's like a little over 4 books a month, which is like a book a week. I usually read more than that. Yeah, wow, that took a lot out of me. I have to like get back into this a little bit. But thank you guys so much for watching and for bearing with me. Yeah, these past few months have been really exciting, and I've just been trying to be present with like these new and exciting things that have been going on, and not forcing myself to read just for the sake of reading, because then I'm gonna just hate reading. Taking a bit of a break. I mean, no, I still read like about a book a week, but for me that's kind of a break. And taking that and not putting pressure on myself to like, you know, read a book a day, or, you know, 4 books a week or whatever, like I think was really healthy for my relationship with reading and my relationship to other things around me. Anyway, yeah, comment below if you've read any of these and if you liked any of the books that I did not like as much as I maybe thought I was going to. Yeah, and let me know what you want to see. This week I will be brainstorming videos for next week and just kind of getting back into the groove. So I might just get back in with like a good old-fashioned reading vlog. We'll see. But let me know if there's anything you want to see. I might do a 24-hour challenge. I might not though. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week/weekend. I hope you enjoyed your summer. Yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for catching up with me.